Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, one of the gems of northern Nevada, the National Judicial College, and the quietest Regent. Ray Hagar has the rundown.
Thanks, Sam. Today's first guest is Bill Dressel. He's the president of the National Judicial College. We're going to talk about Harriet Myers. Then we're going to talk with Howard Rosenberg, the outspoken Regent.
And you want to stay tuned to the Power Pundit panel when Ray and Howard join Mary Lau and Dick Gammick. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Corporations moving to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center require reliable power, fiber optic communication, and clean water sources. And yet, there's another amenity we're very proud of here at TRI, rail service. So far, we've built over 2 miles of railroad track, and another 3.6 is under construction. When companies need to transport freight, we're going to help them move it quickly and efficiently. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The resort at Red Hawk offers you 2 great dining choices. Experience David's Grill and Sports Bar or the Steakhouse at Red Hawk. The Steakhouse has received the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence based on a diverse selection of fine wines. To accompany the wines, the Steakhouse serves certified Angus beef steaks in a variety of cuts, fresh fish, chicken, and pasta dishes. For fun and casual dining, come to David's Grill and Sports Bar. David's is open 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The resort at Red Hawk. Always the right choice.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
One of the great treasures in northern Nevada is the National Judicial College, and we have its president here, Bill Dressel. Pleasure to have you here, Bill.
Pleasure to be here, Sam.
Okay, I got to start out with Harriet Myers, nominee to the Supreme Court. What is your thought on her, just right off the bat?
Well, the problem with saying what is your thought on her is that most people have preconceived ideas as to what they want a Supreme Court justice to be. And the issue really is who can make a justice for all people, for the citizens. And you look at it, does she have the intellect? Does she have the capacity to understand and apply the Constitution? And, you know, I think that's what the Senate needs to focus on. And so we got these people who are looking at this position from their own point of view or their beliefs rather than looking for someone who can represent all the people.
Did the nominee surprise you?
She was one of the names that was being put out. I know that he really wanted to bring some balance or diversity to the court. At least there was a lot of pressure to do that. I kind of thought that Alberto Gonzalez might be given the nod. There were several other judges from the circuit courts that were put there. But in retrospect, yeah, did it, I guess to answer your question, yeah, it did. But in retrospect, if you're looking for somebody that is not going to cause a fuss, this was probably a good choice.
You know, the conservatives have been pushing their movement for the last 40 years to get somebody to the far right onto the Supreme Court. And they are just furious. Pat Buchanan over the weekend and Coulter, these conservatives are just furious with this president.
Yeah. You know, I figure whenever you make, whether it's the far right or the far left, if you make them furious, then maybe you've got someone that you want to look at that can represent all the people.
You know, it's interesting. You know, for a time at the very beginning when this first nomination came out, and I heard all these conservative voices against her, I almost thought it was kind of a ringer where they were saying, oh, this is a terrible choice because she was exactly the candidate they wanted. They had a talking points memo that was going on, but that certainly does not appear to be the case. Now, let's talk about the intellectual heft here. Obviously, she's the White House counsel. This is not a stupid woman.
No.
But when you look at the Supreme Court, I mean, from a point of the Constitution, what kind of intellectual heft does this have? It doesn't really have it, does it?
Well, the White House counsel, you know, is a good place. It's the same as like being an assistant attorney general. You're dealing with high-level issues. She's analyzing high-level issues. She's advising the President of the United States. She was a managing partner of a law firm, and so she is dealing with, once again, not only management issues but serious legal issues, and that's what you want. You know, my mind immediately went back when they started talking about her qualifications and backgrounds and thinking of Byron White. Byron White came out of the Justice Department, had a job probably similar to what Harriet Miers had. He was an assistant, attorney general. Rehnquist. I mean, whether you believe in what they may have ruled because of your leanings one way or another, everyone agrees that these two individuals have shown a real degree of ability to be intellectual and to analyze the Constitution and apply it.
What rights do the senators have to get answers to their questions?
That is really where this is going to come down and be interesting. Because if they apply the same standard they did for Justice Ginsburg, for Justice Roberts, in that, then they're not going to go in and tell me your personal views, how are you going to rule. I would hope that that Specter would insist that the interview be run the same as it has for everyone else.
You know, prior to Judge Bork being nominated, these Supreme Court nominations were not nearly as contentious. Are we served better now, or were we served better before they were so contentious?
I think we were served a lot better before they became contentious, because what they did, they looked at the individual. They looked for legal capacity and intellect. They had interviews from people who were truly like-minded, good constitutional scholars. And they would have interviews with these people before they came before the Senate. And then those people would advise the senators or aides, here's what was discussed, and this person really seems to be able to analyze the Constitution, appears to be fair-minded. And now we're going more into background. We're going into I mean, like Bork, what videos or books do you read?
And that's, you don't like that?
No, I don't. I think you really need to measure a person by their work product, and work product is different. You have work product of a judge on an appellate court. Is that give you a good measure of? Absolutely. That's, I think, what's frustrating them about Harriet Miers. They don't have that roadmap laid out of building blocks of what she has done as a judge. They need to look the same way as her work and come up with the same opinion.
Okay, television courts in the United States Supreme Court. I think it's outrageous that we don't have television cameras in the United States Supreme Court. And basically because the Supreme Court justices wish to preserve their, to an extent, anonymity. I think that's outrageous. Your thoughts? And you don't have to agree with me.
No, as an educator, I really try not to take a position for my institution, because we try to bring judges in to get them to think about having cameras in the courtroom, the impacts. This conference that we had last week is a good example. The judges talked about in high-profile trials, the impact. And what's interesting is that in high-profile trials, the tendency is not to allow cameras in. But in other trials or other proceedings, courts are allowing cameras in. And so I guess they're saying is that a high-profile trial has a tendency to maybe get out of hand, to maybe be explosive, can be exploited more by the media or counsel or somebody. So the judge has said, I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm going to really clamp down on it. Now, is that right? You can debate that, and that's what we debated last week. Is that right? As a result of this conference, we're going to come out and have some material that judges can really think about so they can make the decision. If we came out as the National Judicial Council and said, you got to have cameras in the courtroom, they say, well, I'm not going to go to a program there. They've already made up their minds. Now, with that being said, I'm going to step aside as an individual. I was a judge for 22 years, had cameras in the courtroom, observed trials, as Mr. Mesereau talked about, that he had ordered a transcript. I've observed some of the televised trials to kind of get a sense as to what was going on. And at the college last week was Judge Zobel of Massachusetts.
We're almost out of time here.
Yeah, who did the nanny trial. Talk about cameras in courtroom, no problem.
Bill Dressel, love to have you back here.
Sorry I talked so much.
No, it's fine. But I think the greatest civics lesson for America is C-SPAN. I'd love to see a C-SPAN 3 that had the Supreme Court on there. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this. Sorry.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Pepper Mill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Pepper Mill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you dining?
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit NMA.org, the National Mining Association.
Island Inkjet is now open on South Meadows Parkway. Island Inkjet will refill your inkjet cartridges in just 1 hour. We have the ink to precisely match over 240 cartridges, saving you up to 60% on the cost of buying a new cartridge. Our work is 100% guaranteed, and contrary to what you may have heard, refills do not void any printer warranties. You don't throw out your car when it runs out of gas. Don't throw out your cartridges. Refill them at Island Inkjet on South Meadows Parkway by Smith's.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers.
Hi, I'm Ray Hagar with the Reno Gazette-Journal, and our guest today is Howard Rosenberg, esteemed regent of the University of Nevada system. Howard, in this morning's Reno Gazette-Journal, Alex Newman had a story that basically stated that some officials in the university want to raise the incoming grade point average for freshmen from 2.75 to 3.0. Now, this was going to be raised by 2010, and now some people want to move it up and start this 3.0 and 2.07, correct?
We're talking about the university's entrance level. Not just
the
UNR and UNLV. Yeah, we fought this battle about, as I remember, 3 or 4 years ago, and had a timeline all set up so that we could get the information to the public school system in time for them to begin their work in the 7th grade and bring the kids up over a period of time, so it's not one of these cataclysmic things where everything that you know you don't know anymore, and now you have to learn all new things all over again.
Well, who's going to benefit from this? Is it the...
It depends upon how you look at this. From a purely conceptual standpoint, the grade point average should be 3.0. It should have been 3.0 quite some time ago. We didn't have a system that allowed for 3 tiers. We now have the 3-tier system. I don't like the idea of doing it as quickly as what they're proposing. And when it comes to the board, I will argue against it, at least at this point, unless someone can show me that it can indeed work and work properly. I don't think that it can, because it doesn't give us a chance to do the work with the constituencies that need to be done. But from a purely conceptual standpoint, yes, we do need to raise the grade point average. There are students at the university that don't belong there because they can't do the work.
Well, Howard, wouldn't this be a windfall for, say, like Truckee Meadows Community College, Western Nevada Community College, and the College of Southern Nevada?
Well, it depends on how you look at windfall.
Well,
we don't have any room for students in any one of the places anyway. So what difference does it make? We're really going to cause a great deal of grief no matter which way it moves. If it takes the enrollment down at UNLV and UNR, it's going to put it up at Nevada State College, which can take more students. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. But the other places are stretched to the limit, so that's not going to be the best thing in the world that can happen to them either.
Okay, this is coming. This move to jack up the GPA so quickly is coming from Southern Nevada, isn't
Yes.
it? It looks like a ploy just to get the enrollment up at College of Southern Nevada.
I don't like the word ploy.
Okay,
I don't
what would
think
you
that's
use?
what I used.
Ploy.
A judicious way of reallocating enrollment. How's that for waffling? I'm a politician. What am I going to tell you? What's really going on here is UNLV is stretched to the limits. They cannot accommodate what they're being hit with. In this way, it begins to reallocate enrollment to the places that can handle it and can handle it a little bit better. What I don't like is that it's happening too quickly. I would propose maybe a compromise. If 2010 is too long to wait, maybe we wait to 2008. That still gives us a chance to do the work that needs to be done. The underrepresented constituencies really bother me the most, because they're the ones that are going to be hit hardest by this, and I don't like that one single bit.
Underrepresented constituencies, what do you mean by that?
All of the minority groups that just don't have the same kind of representation that they need to have. They're not getting the kind of help that they need to get. It takes time to get that kind of help where it needs to be
Howard,
allocated.
are you saying that if this goes through, that the university could become a white bread system?
I don't know that it would become a white bread system. I do know that it would not be as representative as it needs to be, and that does bother me. No ifs, ands, and buts about it.
There is an issue about GPA, how it's formulated at the public school level. You could have criterion.
You can have criteria referencing, and you can have norm referencing.
Right.
At the university, I use two systems. Criteria referencing is you give the problem, the student does exactly what the problem asks them to do, and completes the work. That, for many kids that are coming out of the public school system, means I get an A. No, you don't get an A. That means that you have fulfilled the minimal standards of the problem. But at the college level particularly, you need to go further than that, because you're in competition with everybody else at the college level. Ray, the easiest way to explain it is you got a job. You do what the job asks you to do, and you get a paycheck. Why should someone pat you on the head for doing that? You're supposed to do the job. That's what you're getting paid for.
Yeah, but if you're going to advance in your job,
you want to do more.
Right.
Exactly. That's where norm referencing comes in, because you're in competition with everybody else who wants your job and who wants your grade. And that's what you've got to do more for. And that seems to be, for me, where the breakdown is. Because kids come into the college system expecting the same kind of thing that they have experienced in public school, and it doesn't work that way. Now, whose fault that is, I don't know. I think maybe both public school, K through 12, and university system, no, that's not fair. Nevada system of higher education have to get together and really discuss this and discuss it properly, so there isn't a precipitous drop between the grade point that they come in with and what they actually wind up with after one semester.
Quick question, quick answer.
For me, good luck.
Classrooms are packed.
Yes.
All right, but in the field of athletics, both at Nevada and UNLV, we have a 40,000-seat stadium at UNLV, 30,000 at Nevada. Crowds of 8,000 to 10,000 are going to these games. Why do we need such large cathedrals to sports when no one's showing up and the classrooms are all crowded?
Why would you ask me about athletics knowing how I feel about athletics?
Let's fire it up, Howard.
Well, why not? You don't. when I see there's a 30,000-seat stadium and I have a parking garage that most of the time is empty, particularly overnight, and I don't have enough seats to put my students' bumpers in, it absolutely infuriates me. By the same token, I recognize the value of athletics, and there is a major value. Most people will only come to see winning teams. Sometimes our kids don't win. When they don't win, attendance drops off. When they do win, Ray, you can't get into Mackey Stadium or Sam Boyd.
Well, let's
been there
drop
on both
right
times.
there. The Wolfpack's 4-2, and they only got 8,000 people.
They'll get better. They'll get better.
We'll be back with our pundit panel and talk about the Saddam Hussein trial right after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center. Just 10 minutes east of Sparks. We're proud that Walmart and other Fortune 500 companies have chosen Tahoe Reno Industrial Center to relocate their businesses. We have sites from under 5 acres to well over 500 acres, and with all of the amenities that every successful corporation requires. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, and we're building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
The Nevada Beer Wholesalers encourages the responsible consumption of beer. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association are sponsors and participants in many community-based efforts such as school education programs, safe ride home, recycling programs, alcohol-free after-prom and graduation parties, safe voting campaigns, and designated driver programs. They are family-owned businesses employing 2,000 Nevadans. They also collect and pay the state excise tax. The Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association, delivering more than just beer.
You are watching Nevada Newsmakers.
Hi, thanks for coming back for our pundit panel. Today we have Washoe County District Attorney Dick Gammick, Howard Rosenberg, and Mary Lau with the Retail Association of Nevada. Good to see you, Mary.
Thank you.
Today started the trial of Saddam Hussein, which some say that is the biggest war criminal trial since 1946, when Hermann Göring was tried in Nuremberg. He is being tried, though, not for gassing thousands of his countrymen or burying 10,000 of his countrymen in mass graves. He's being tried for the assassination of 143 people in a small town in 1982. Now, and he is being tried by a panel of Iraqi judges, not an international panel set up by the UN. I'm just wondering, Dick, what if Saddam Hussein beats the rap on this?
Well,
what happens then?
There's always that potential when you go to trial, and I think it's probably a tactical move by the prosecutors in this case not to throw everything in the fire at one time. He beats this one case. There's plenty more, and there's even more stuff surfacing all the time on the atrocities that were going on in Iraq. So I doubt very seriously you're ever going to see Saddam Hussein beat it all.
Okay, Dick, I mean, Howard, what do you...
It's frightening. It really is. By the same token, he's being tried by a system that is democratic. It's the way it's supposed to work. If indeed it works the way we hope it will work, it will come right. If it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, it's still Iraq. It's Iraq doing what Iraq says it wants to do and needs to do. It's the democratic process. Many times it's a little messy, but it's the best system that I know of.
Yeah, but we went in there to get rid of this guy and
No. I'm going to defer to Dick on this, and you hit me if I'm wrong. You don't go in to get someone. You go in to present the evidence, and the evidence gets them. At least that's the way I've always thought the system operated.
Well, that's the judicial system. I think what Ray may be referring to is one of the reasons we went into Iraq in the first place. Was
but that's a different story.
Pick up Mr. Hussein and hold him responsible for his conduct.
I can just see Saddam Hussein beating the rap and running for president in 2008. What would happen then?
Let's say that
Mary?
he does.
You could say what if he did, but I don't think that's going to happen either. It's a political trial. They'll have more cases, more things brought to public and stuff like this. You can't even bring up, under our judicial system, the other things that are there that he's not being tried for yet, as far as I know.
It depends on how they tie in and how they relate to the case, but he's got a long road to go.
It's about politics, and it's about getting the truth out to the people, too, and a public format is the best way to do it.
Okay, let's change the subject. Howard, you were talking about a raise in the GPA at University of Nevada and University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and you propose perhaps of changing the requirements for the Millennium Scholarship to go along with this. Could you explain that?
I have thought for a long while that maybe what we need to do is that the Millennium Scholarship needs to be needs-based. I understand that this was brought up in the legislature and everybody came unglued. I have no idea why that happened. I think that scholarship can be either merit-based or needs-based, or perhaps we divide it. There's a certain amount of money made available for merit-based, and then there's a certain amount of money made for needs-based. Perhaps that's the way to look at it, rather than a blanket situation where everyone has access to it, and it seems to almost mandate a certain amount of grade inflation. No one wants to do a kid out of the possibility of going to college.
Okay, Mary,
I think it's great. I totally agree with Howard. We supported that in the legislature and stuff. The Millennium Scholarship was something that originally was funded out of tobacco money, as you know.
Right.
Now it's becoming a taxpayer expense. Right. It's something that was raised to $100 million, and that's no problem with it if it's doing what it's supposed to do. But a carte blanche for anybody and everybody to go to a university system that they're not ready to attend is a recipe for failure, and nobody looked at the housing of students in our university system. Raising that grade point average sort of like reestablishes, in my opinion, the integrity of the universities, and also pushes down, because they can use, and Howard, correct me if I'm wrong, Millennium Scholarship money to go to, Henderson, to go to community colleges and everything else. It becomes a laughing stock situation if you can just walk into UNLV with a minimum grade point average way under 3 point, which when I went to school was a C, and ask the community outside of the university systems and the other universities to acknowledge our higher education as something that means something. We dumb me down.
Well, I'm a very strong supporter of Millennium Scholarships. I think it's one of the best things this state ever did.
I do.
But one thing we haven't addressed here, the one thing I'd add to what Howard has suggested, is that we have some kind of a minimum grade point average, some kind of a minimum academic qualifications. It really bothers me that we have people on Millennium Scholarships getting a full boat ride when they're busy taking remedial English and remedial math and a lot of other remedial courses at the university. I started working at college, and when I got married, my wife and I worked. We worked all the way through school. We never got a free boat.
That's all.
I think you need to earn.
We got to drop it right, or stop it right there. We'll be right back after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. For a quick bite and the best sandwiches in town, it's the Whistle Stop Deli. And for the best appetizers and menu selections and a large variety of cocktails, beers, and martinis, it's Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
Hey, thanks for watching today, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow we will have Jan and Bob Davidson from the Davidson Institute. We're going to be talking about the new Gifted and Talented School opening up next year at the University of Nevada, Reno. Thanks.